Ortur just sent me a 20-watt laser module for my LaserMaster 3. We're going to go ahead and unbox it, take a look at it, and actually build something really cool with it. Let's take a look. So here is the new 20-watt laser module. Now technically these are all like 22 watts. They're advertised as 20. They're just basically stacked diode lasers. I like this new design. I like how it goes all the way down. You see a lot of lasers trending towards this style of design. So your vision and your eyes are protected. It's got this really cool little switch here and lever, so you can get the height that you require and move the laser up and down on the Z-axis, and it just kind of goes back. It has some weight to it. It's a heftier module than the 10 watt, which makes sense. But it's really well designed. I'm digging it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off the 10 watt laser on our LaserMaster 3 and we're going to replace it with this 20 watt, run it through its paces, make sure everything works, and then we're going to start on our project. The project we're going to work on this time is going to be on a guitar pedal enclosure. So for a year, I've been designing a pedal circuit to release my own guitar pedal. And I've been prototyping, listening to samples, putting it on the breadboard, and I've gone through this whole process, but where I'm at now is on trying to find an enclosure for it. And I came across like a couple of different designs, and I was, experimenting with using the CNC. And really, instead of using the CNC, what I want to do is use the laser. I want to basically take one of these pedal enclosures, which are already enameled, and use the laser to essentially etch into that enamel. So what it's doing is it's burning through that layer of clear and burning through the actual color coat, so that you would see basically raw aluminum. And so what we need to do is run a few tests, make sure we get the laser hot enough to burn through, but not too hot or leave scorch marks. And then once we finalize on a design, we'll knock out a couple and see how quickly this 20 watt laser can build us a guitar pedal enclosure. Let's get to it. So I have all these scrap enclosures. I've been trying to design an enclosure for over half a year, and I just never really liked any of the ideas I was coming up with. But now that I have the 20 watt laser, this is a good opportunity to kind of revisit this enclosure design. So I ended up finding a great middle ground where it cuts through the enamel, leaves a crystal sharp edge, but also is hot enough to make the engraved part dark so that we don't see the kind of pale gray of the aluminum. We want it to be a kind of a darker contrast. So in Lightburn, I kind of start off hot here in the corner. And as it's moving, I kind of reduce the settings, but the laser's actually burning. This is all happening in real time. So I get real-time feedback. And then it kind of goes to a section where I thought was kind of nice. Then I go and darken it up a little bit. So I really liked this section up here, and that's the setting I ended up choosing. So here's the final result. It looks fabulous. This is a champagne colored enameled enclosure. It's already clear coated, is how I buy them. And all I'm doing is using the 20 watt laser very quickly. I'm running it pretty fast, and it cuts through the clear in the enamel and scorches just enough to leave this perfect contrast. That's what we want. So my knobs will go up here, and my switch will be here by the fin. Very excited how this came out. Let's do another design with a larger enclosure. Let's go. I chose a bigger design with a bigger enclosure box, and this came out awesome. So you get a little bit more high contrast because this is a white box and it's a matte finished, almost like a powder coated finish. So it's got a little bit of texture to it. And I ran the same settings on the laser as I did for the Koi, but you get a little bit more contrast because of the white background. It's a really cool ratio of like a crispness and a clean line and a clean cut with this kind of nice dark charcoal gray. The detail that you can get. I mean, if you wanted to start a pedal business, I don't even see why you'd ever want to do any type of print graphics on your enclosure when you can get this really cool look just with a laser. And it's basically kind of like, I don't know what the word is, it's like it's cut in there, so it's engraved, it's like embossed, so there's a texture to it, right, that you don't get from print graphics, so it feels really cool. Now, I'm going to extremes with this example, right? I mean, I could have just put volume, fuzz, you know, and just printed text with the laser. But I want to show you what this Ortur 20 watt can do. So what I was mentioning before is there's like a texture or a depth to these cuts because the laser's actually coming in here, and you can feel there's like depth to this. There's a three-dimensionality to this, which you can't get with print graphics. And look at the detail, look how fine these lines you're able to get. Check this out. I mean, we're under a high magnification right now. And look at this, the beard here of the wolf and the wispiness of the fur. Look at the wispiness. This level of detail is just nuts coming from a laser. And I'm just so impressed. You can see the headpiece here. A lot of that dimension pops through in the detail. I don't know what to tell you. It's like, buy a laser. If you're into making paddles at all, if you're into making guitars, I don't know of another tool that can do work like this. It's just incredible. All right, so just a quick sound demo of the pedal. This is the smaller version in the smaller enclosure, the Coyote. It's got the Koi on there. And this is my clean tone. You can see there's actually no breakup at all. It's essentially my $79 guitar, so you're not really hearing, an expensive guitar, you're hearing the pedal. And it's going into my Fractal, which is running through a Roland Jazz 120, so it's a solid state amp. It's not coloring the sound of the pedal. And it's running through an impulse response of like a 220 Marshall. All right, let's kick this in. So I have the unity volume about midway, and then I have the gain probably somewhere like at, 5 o'clock, maybe 4 o'clock. So it's not full blast. So it's pretty darn cool, gotta say. And so I wanted to show this and demo it with like the cheaper guitar running through a solid state amp, because you can color this in a number of ways depending on what kind of tube amp you put it through, depending on your speaker combination, depending on what other pedal combination. So this works really well if you run this before like an overdrive, because the overdrive will let you then kind of color the tone a little more. So the way I designed this was, typically a normal big muff pedal has basically 4 transistors. The last transistor stage is kind of like an amplifier just to kind of boost the sound. I got rid of that. So this is just basically 3 transistors, right, for the gain stages. And then I omitted the entire tone stack. So there's no tone circuit in here. So you get this kind of like full range, lots of bottom end, lots of high end. The original Big Muff has a high pass and low pass filter that it basically blends between with kind of notched mids. And so that's all gone. And so you get this kind of like full spectrum, full range. It gets really deep when you want it to. So I kick this. So this neck pickup is great for like those fat lead tones. So you get that sustain that you're kind of used to hearing with a Big Muff, right, with that sustain knob. So it's a lot of gain. So as far as the transistors are concerned, I tested out quite a few, and I didn't find there to be anything particularly special about any silicone NPN transistors. One wasn't tonally better than the other. Where there was a difference was in gain, because that's what transistors are built for. They're amplifiers, right? And so they are different in terms of how much gain you're getting, and that gain can be perceived as sounding tonally different, but really they're all the same. So I went with the 2N5088, I believe. I think they sound great. Lots of gain, that's what I wanted. So even if I turn this fuzz knob all the way down to 0, so I'll just show you. So this is at 0. So it's a pretty cool pedal. The form factor is really tiny. I was able to achieve that form factor by removing the tone stack, so there's a third knob, and by removing that last transistor stage. So it basically retains the sound of a big muff, but with kind of a smaller footprint in the circuit board. And because I chose that particular transistor, it's kind of a little bit gainier, and it sounds different than the big muff because it's not running through a high pass or low pass filter. Forget all those other ends of the spectrum on the tone knob. They're pointless, they're useless. You're never gonna turn that tone knob all the way to the left, and you're never gonna use it all the way to the right, musically speaking. And so that's basically what I did here. I kind of found a happy point in the middle where it sounds pretty tight, but there's a ton of low end. So a really cool pedal, I think. This one here can be considering to be, the prototype. Just because I wasn't really entirely sure what I wanted to do with the enclosure. This was a test for the laser. I was gonna write like volume and fuzz on the top. I chose not to do that. I just thought it looked a little bit cooler and more minimal without any words on it. But this one is for sale. So this one will be up on my store. I mean, you're hearing it right here. Totally killer pedal, totally custom circuit, custom enclosure. I built it. And if you want it, it's on the store. The link's in the description. There it is. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. So, I finally finished these pedals after over a year of breadboarding and circuit design and stewing on what I was going to do with the enclosures. And it was all because of this laser, really, that kind of inspired me to design these enclosures, because all my ideas before the laser weren't really great. But it really does allow you to be really creative, specifically because all these details you're able to achieve with the laser are just incredible. Like anything you can picture in your head, you can do. And I'm already living inside the computer. I'm always inside the computer designing. So having a device like this that allows me to just basically put everything in my head and make it real is just incredible. So I can't recommend the Ortur 20-watt laser enough. It's phenomenal. And of course, I don't care about how strong it is, how much wattage, or how fast it is. I care about the precision. You saw this under magnification, and the level of detail is what's impressive. Now, I was able to achieve that level of detail pretty quickly because this is a pretty fast laser and because it burns really hot. So I'm able to, increase my speeds. But in the end, you can start a whole pedal business with just a laser. And this, the proof is in the pudding. That's it right here. Now I know that circuit design is not for everyone. It's hard to get into, but at least this part here is a piece of cake. So I'm super stoked. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.